the studies seem to speak to racialized treatment in the hospital. It seems to speak to the people not responding to their needs and other environmental factors that undermine black health. That's an example where, like, we can't just look to responsibility, right? Can't we look at some systemic structural issues?
What you speak about is more linked to class and to income level than to race. I don't agree with the studies that show that black women are being treated differently than white women. I know it was mentioned in a recent Supreme Court case, and that study was trashed widely after it came out. But I think it's more of a class issue than a race issue. But I want to talk more about the unemployment, because jobs, of course, are vital. It is true that the unemployment rate is twice that of whites. Is that structural? Well, before the minimum wage, a black teenager was more likely to be employed than a white teenager. Why? Because the black teenager was able to offer his skills at lower levels than a white kid. Then along comes the minimum wage, and it was increased to the point where it was going higher than inflation, and then all of a sudden a black teen was more likely to be unemployed than a white teen for the first time in American history. Black married men have the same employment rate as white people. Once you get married, you have certain kind of responsibilities, and of course to be breadwinners. And it turns out that black married men have the same rate as do whites. Another fact that I think is hurting black people. Let me do one more thing, is illegal immigration. There was a study done by the Civil Rights Commission, and the Civil Rights Commission consists of liberals, of centrists, and of conservatives. They all agreed that the group that's most hurt by illegal immigration are black and brown people living in the inner city with high school or less. The study concluded that about 1 million fewer black people are working because of the presence of illegal alien labor, and illegal alien labor puts downward pressure to the tune of around $2,000 per year on black people. So securing the borders would go a long way towards making sure that black people have economic opportunities. But I do not agree that systemic racism is what's causing black people to be less employed. Turns out that we drop out of high school at a much higher rate. If you look at bar graphs of how much homework a high school student who's black does versus a white student versus an Asian student, it's night and day. The Asians are studying much harder than white people are, which is why they do so well on standardized tests. You have to value education, which black people, unfortunately, are not valuing to the same degree as whites and Asians are. That's the problem.
Tonight, Richard Nixon in person is going to face a panel of citizens asking the questions they want answered.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Today's adventure.
Chief, the strongest man in the world.
You got another white jury saying that it's okay for white cops to beat up black people. And that's racism American style, and it's been that way from the get.